Coaches, welcome to the 2025 WSYBL season. It is Wednesday, January 22nd today, and it certainly feels like it. It does not feel like baseball weather. We've just come out of the deep freeze here, or just coming out of it, and it's been snowing a little bit today. But really looking forward to this season. My name is KJ Bigler, and I have the privilege of being the commissioner of this league now in my 7th year of doing this, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be serving in that chair again this year. Thank you so much for joining us again this year. A huge shout out to all our new organizations and new coaches, which is almost 30 again this year, new ones that have added to our total. It's really hard to believe, guys, but we are at 307 teams, 307 going into this summer. So that is by far the most we've ever had. And again, I am grateful, and I am really pleased and proud to be doing what we're doing. And thank you guys for joining us again this year. So with all of that being said, definitely want to dive right into this because I think there's a little bit more to share this year than normal. And with so many new teams again and new coaches, want to try and make sure that I'm emphasizing some things that I think are really going to make sure you guys are pointing in the right direction and have the information that you need moving forward. So, okay, first off, we're kind of going to divide this into maybe 4 different sections. First being a little bit more about logistics, rules and the board and that kind of thing. So let's first talk about the board, guys. We are made up of 11 members, not including myself, so myself included would be 12. And I think it's one of the strengths of our league for us to have 12 dedicated guys that have been doing this for a while, that love kids, love baseball, are familiar with this league, and really care about it so that we can make it the best we can make it every single year, whatever that may be, as we continue to grow and we continue to change. But we're definitely committed to this thing through and through, and without me going into naming them all and telling you how many years they've been on the board and all that, which I'd love to do, just want to basically give a shout out to them and thank them for everything that they do for this league. I certainly couldn't do it without them, and they are an integral part of what makes this league. I do want to give a special shout out to Tony Lucas, who is our new U11 coordinator this year, and also to Jeff DeMichael, who has pinch hit for Bob this year and is doing both the 6th grade and the 7th grade level this year. So I want to thank Jeff for pinch hitting and doing that. Also just want to make sure I mention Bud Beebe and Matt Hauk for all that they do in the UIC position with dealing with all the umpires and ejections and questions and things like that. To Adam Berg, who really helped an awful lot again with helping the coordinators put the divisions together. And then Jeffrey Standish, who is our website guru and our arbiter guy, which is a huge job. So want to thank them all from the bottom of my heart to all that they do and all that they make this league how well it runs. Secondly, let's talk rules. The 4 changes that we've made this year, Jeff has highlighted on that homepage of the website. So just mentioning them very quickly here. We've gone from a 2-hour and 15-minute time limit to a 2-hour time limit this year. The U13-14 divisions, there is no balk warning. They're just going to call it straight up in those 2 divisions this year. Umpire pay has gone up again this year a little bit, and the changes that have been made are all there on the website. And we've also okayed a new baseball this year that you guys can use for your home games. So I will say this about that rules page. I think it's 9+ pages long. It's extremely comprehensive, guys, and if you ever have a question on any rules when it comes to this league, when it comes to what you can or can't do, or something that might be confusing you or that you need or want to know, please check there. It is very detailed, very comprehensive, and I think 99.9% of the questions you have from a rules standpoint are going to be there for you. So please check that out whenever you get a chance. So speaking of rules, let's talk about rosters just a little bit. Last year we had a little bit more of an issue with this subject, and I think as we grow and with new teams coming in and new organizations and that, I guess that's not a shock because we do have to get somewhat specific with it, and I kind of want to cover that very quickly in this video. And I have it right here in front of me printed off of the rule sheet of our website. But want to make sure, especially for you new guys, that we cover it very quickly to make sure everybody's on the same page. So obviously kids can play up and not down. If you have a U8 team and a U9 team in this league and you're shorthanded at the U9 division, if you want or need to have one of your U8s play up, that's obviously fine. If you have two teams in a division, let's say you have two U12 teams from the same organization, one is an A and one is a C. The C's can obviously play up, but the A's cannot play down. Now, having said that, you can designate two players from that higher level team to be able to play down. But the caveat there is they have to be identified. You have to identify who those two are, and you have to put them on both rosters. And that really is my main point there, guys, is the listing of those rosters, that they're very comprehensive and very organized and very complete when you turn them in and when you enter them, so that there is minimal confusion when it comes to roster situations, right? Everybody out there has game changer, right? Everybody. And as we move forward each year, it's very easy, and I don't blame teams, and they should be checking your roster, if, your opponent, based on entering all that data in and seeing who's supposed to be there or who's legally able to be on the roster. And if you've got kids running around that are not listed on your roster, that are out there on the field, well, obviously that's going to be questioned, as it should be. So if you run into a situation, coaches, where you're shorthanded at the C level and you need one of those two players to come down and play, first off, obviously list them on both rosters, but secondly, make sure that you reach out to the coach and let them know, hey, this is the situation. I've got two kids hurt, one kid's on vacation. I need to bring Johnny down to play in this ball game. He's listed on the roster. Just want to make sure you know he's going to be there. Okay, and let your coordinator know as well. That would cover all bases, guys. And if we can do that, if we can communicate well when it comes to those situations, that is going to take so much angst and so many issues off the table right off the bat, if we can make sure that that's happening. Now, if you run into a situation where you lose a couple kids to injury, you lose a couple kids that quit, and all of a sudden you're down to 8 or 9 players and it's mid-season, and you do need to add somebody, that can happen. Obviously, that's a process. You're going to need to get a hold of me. You're going to need to get a hold of your coordinator. We're going to need to walk through that and kind of make sure we're on the same page and make sure that they fill out the appropriate paperwork and make sure that we legally add them. We'd have to open up your roster online and make sure we do so if it comes to that. Now, that's obviously last resort. We want to make sure you guys have a minimum of 11 on your rosters. I would try and list a couple of subs if at all possible. Even if they're guys that you just don't anticipate using the entire season, unless it is a catastrophic situation. But that just makes life a lot easier when it comes to the legalities of it and making sure that the integrity of the divisions and of the league is intact, and that we're doing our due diligence to keep those issues and problems to a minimum. The other thing that I would say about rosters is, if you could please make sure you're only using those two players coming down in a situation where you really need them. And that even goes for moving guys around, right? It's really supposed to be done, and it says right here, should only be done to avoid a forfeit or a cancellation. Not something that we're doing on a regular basis. If you have 11 or 12 C players there and all of a sudden you're bringing Johnny down to pitch, or you're using him to play in a game where you don't need him, that's highly discouraged, guys. We don't want that to be the case. We want it to be a situation where it's a need, and that's why we're having you guys do that, okay? So I wanted to make sure we clarified all that when it comes to how that will work, because that is a pretty important piece as we get into the season. So now let's talk about walk-up music, guys. We've had this discussion as a board. I love music, guys. I highly encourage it in between innings. Have no problem with it on the surface, but I think it's starting to get a bit obnoxious. It's starting to get a bit antagonistic, the way it's being used. Especially when it comes to the music that might be being played and how it's being used. So we've talked about this. We're certainly not at this point going to say you can't do it, but we are going to highly, highly discourage it for a number of reasons, a couple of which I just mentioned. I certainly don't want to take away the fun of doing that, and I certainly wouldn't imply that you're using it for those reasons. But we want to try and keep that to a minimum, or try and avoid it if at all possible, guys. Again, just so it doesn't become an issue, become antagonistic, become obnoxious, and kind of crosses the line as to how we're using that walk-up music, okay? So please keep that in mind as you walk through this season. And if it is something we have to address beyond that, I guess we'll continue to talk about it or take a look at it as a board as we get through this season and into next. Okay, umpires. That's always going to be a question that comes up, right? The shortages that are always out there. We're always dealing with it. We have trained over 200 umpires the last 3 years, guys, and very proud of that and what Bud Beebe and Mike and Matt have done there. We're going to continue to do that. We've got between 50 and 60 guys we're currently training that just started in the last week or two. I want to let you know that we still have some umpire clinic opportunities as we get into the spring that are on the Bigler Sports website. So if you could please talk that up, please think about anybody that might be interested in doing some umpiring. We want to continue to try and train and try and continue to get as many guys in the hopper as we can. So please take that seriously, and please take a look at the opportunities we have and continue to talk that up, not only this spring and summer, but into the future, because we continue to plan on doing this. And as we grow, guys, we had over 2,200 games being played in this league last year, and I know that's obviously going to go up quite a bit again this year. So we're certainly doing whatever we can to make sure we get our games covered and we have the highest quality and trained umpires out there for you guys as we can. Okay, now let's talk about another exciting area or thing that has really presented itself this year for the first time. I know the whole word playoff has been tossed around and talked about for many, many years, and it's something that we just haven't done or made part of the league per se, and we're still not. But this year, for the first time, and I know some of you guys have heard about this from your coordinators, or you're kind of hearing some rumors about it, it is going to be league-wide, and it is going to be something that we are doing this year across the board. Very excited about it. We're calling it an opt-in tournament. Okay, I wouldn't call it a playoff per se, because it is an opt-in situation. You guys as coaches are going to have the ability to play in this if you want to, but you don't have to. I would anticipate most of you would want to, at least as if I talked to you today. But obviously things happen, and let me kind of explain how this is going to work as we, as a board, talk about this and as we implement it this year. First off, it is obviously optional, as I mentioned. What's going to happen is you guys will have to tell us by the end of June whether you guys are going to be playing in this thing or not. And you'll be hearing from your coordinators. You'll probably be getting some sort of a link or some sort of a sign-up sheet for you to follow through on and sign up formally if you'd like to play in this thing, okay? Now, all your regular season games need to be wrapped up by July 12th. I think your coordinators have shared that with you. They are going to be setting up Zoom calls with you very soon. If they haven't already, I think some of them already have. But we want to make sure you get all your regular season games scheduled and done, if at all possible, by July 12th. Now, I know we got the rain out situation. Hopefully we don't have another spring like we had last year with all the rain. That's certainly something we can't control. And it's going to obviously cause us to amend things a little bit if we do get another year like that. But the goal is here that, as you guys I think pretty much know, you have to play within 2 games of whatever your maximum number of games scheduled is in order to be eligible to win the division and in order to be eligible for this end of season tournament. So that's what we're going to say out of the chute. So if you're playing a 16 game season, you have to play 14 of your 16 games by July 12th to be lined up for this end of year tournament and obviously have a chance to win the division as well. So the regular season standings as of July 12th will determine those brackets. And there's a distinct possibility if you're playing in the A division and you, let's say, have gone 2-12, 2-14, and you're at the bottom of the A division. Very good chance you could be playing with the B teams or in the B division when it comes to the opt-in tournament. So that will be determined based on numbers, based on who's all playing, and what that looks like. And you know, if we have the top 3 teams in the A division are all not playing for various reasons or are not opting in, That would obviously affect how many teams are now left or how many teams are going to play in that A division opt-in tournament, and then go from there. Those games will then take place between July 14th and July 19th, so they should be completed in that week. It is going to be a single elimination tournament, so we anticipate that Monday the 14th would be the first game. If you win, you move on. I believe Wednesday the 16th we'd look to play the second game. You win, you move on, and then the championship rounds would be in that 18th, 19th window for that end of season tournament. So that's pretty much how we're looking for it to work. What's going to happen here, guys, is we're going to meet as a board again in the next 8 to 10 weeks and kind of hammer out all the finer points, all the details. I'm sure you guys are thinking, well, who's the home team, or who's going to host, or how's the umpiring work, and that kind of thing. We'll be getting more details out to you about those things as we get into the spring, and possibly even having myself or one of us jump on another call like this, another video to kind of explain it in much greater detail, just to make sure you guys are all aware of what's exactly going to happen when it comes to that whole topic. But we are very excited about it, guys. I think it's the best of both worlds. Certainly nothing you have to plan on doing, you have to do, but I think there's been a lot of interest and a lot of buzz about having something like that happen at the end of the year, giving the kids a little bit more of a chance of something to play for once the season is done, once we get to that mid-July point. So please anticipate that, and just know that more information will be coming as we move through the spring, but continue to kind of give that some thought as we get closer to the season starting, and how you want to handle that idea or that thought with your own teams and parents as we get closer to the start of the season and through the season. Okay, thirdly, next steps. I know you guys are scheduling as we speak. A lot of you are done, which is awesome. We need you to start submitting those home schedule templates to Jeff as soon as possible once they're done. I think some of you already have. I believe Jeff, what he's going to do is he's going to submit those in batches. So he's certainly not going to be able to wait until all 307 of you have your home schedules in before releasing them. So he'll be doing it in bunches of 50 or 60 or 100 based on who and how many are coming in at this point. Because obviously the goal is, guys, the sooner the better, because umpires are sitting as we speak waiting for us to submit these so that they can start building their calendars and schedules for the summer. So the quicker you can get that home schedule, that home template to Jeff, the quicker we can get on getting umpires for your games. That's just the bottom line. Now, I do understand that some of you are trying to finish that schedule, and there's a couple teams that just haven't been able to find a home field yet, haven't been able to get back to you yet. Those last couple games are always a bugger sometimes to try and finish. I've talked to Jeff about this. I would say if you're within one game of finishing, maybe even two, and especially if you have the dates down, you know when you're playing your opponent, but you may not have a field yet. I would just go ahead and submit your schedule. Just submit your home schedule. If you have it done, but there's still a field issue where you may not know exactly where you're playing yet because you're waiting on your town or your community to give you a field assignment, get that to Jeff so he can get it into Arbiter, and you can always double back in a handful of weeks whenever you can get that information to him so we can plug in the actual location. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't want those schedules to be held up too long. All of you out there that are dealing with field issues and trying to get those last dates, I would just highly encourage you all to just keep plugging away, just keep trying to get that thing done. The goal is always for us to try and have you guys get that done by the 31st of January. That's always been the date. We try and implore you guys to get it done if at all possible. But again, the sooner the better that Jeff can start getting those to the umpires. The last couple pieces, guys, that'll come over the next couple of months will be the rosters, as I spoke of, and the registration forms. The rosters, again, you're gonna get that to Jeff. We're gonna get that implanted into the website under your age level, under your brackets, and that is something that we're shooting to get from you by March 15th. Okay. If it's a few days after that, I guess that's okay, but try and get it to us by the 15th, no later than the end of the month, so that we can get that in there in plenty of time. I know some of you may even start playing some games by the 3rd, 4th week in April. So let's shoot to get those in by mid to end of March at the very latest. When it comes to registration forms, I would shoot for the same goal, 15th to the 30th of March. That's a form, it's just a one-sheeter. on the website that you're going to want to print out, and just have each of your families fill that out. It'll take them 2 minutes to do. Just basically name, age, phone number, where, all that kind of thing. They'll sign it and date it, and they're basically signing off on the fact that they're allowing their son to play on your team, to play in this league, and all of that good stuff. So if you could do that for me, that would be great. And make sure you get those to your coordinators so that they can keep that on file and make sure that we're buttoned up on our end when it comes to some of the minutia that we have to take care of on our end when it comes to that kind of thing. But you can find that under the registration tab if you scroll down and hit registration info, and then you scroll down under forms. You'll see the registration form link there that you just need to print out for me. Okay, lastly would be sportsmanship, guys. I'm certainly not going to too much minutia on that, but for those of you that have been around, you know how important it is to me as the commissioner of this league, and it is to all of our coordinators, and I know it is to you guys as well. It kind of goes without saying that we really want to make sure that we're watching ourselves out there, guys, that, hey, when we're competing, nobody's more competitive than I am, guys, but at the same time, we know we're representing our organizations, we're representing our parents and kids as the coaches, and you really, even myself, I don't think we realize the kind of impact we have on these kids, guys. And I commend you for being head coaches of these teams, the kind of time and the commitment and the effort that it takes. I've done it for many, many years myself. I completely know and understand a lot of what you guys go through. And hey, we put the uniform on, we go out between the lines, and we play to win. But at the same time, we got to keep things in perspective, and we got to make sure that we know that the way that we're acting and the way that we're presenting ourselves is important and is being watched and is influencing these kids. So please take that to heart as you get out there this year, and just remember the role that you have to play and how important it is, and what the main thing is. And the main thing is letting these kids go out, have fun, learn, play hard, and continue to get better, and have fun. That's really the bottom line here, guys. The wins, the records, everything else has to be secondary. So please take that to heart. The sportsmanship awards that I typically rattle off on this video, I'm gonna table that and just not take the time to read them all off, and hopefully not butcher the names. I do congratulate all of you that did win this past summer. 2024 Sportsmanship Award, which we do take very seriously, it's voted on by your fellow coaches in your different divisions at each age level. I will have Jeff Standish put that information on the website in the next 10 days or so, and those have already been ordered, so I should have them in the next couple of weeks, and I'll make sure that I either contact you guys, or please do contact me directly to make sure I can get that award to you. If you go to the website there and you can see that your name is listed, that you have won a sportsmanship award for your various division or various grade level from last season. So I do congratulate those guys that did. And again, I do take those awards very seriously, and I do congratulate you guys. So in closing, guys, I went through this fairly quickly, but I hope you got what you needed from this video. I certainly don't like having to talk into a camera. I would love to be able to meet you guys all face to face. Hopefully someday we will go back to more of an in-person meeting. I know how busy we all are. I know other sports and other kids we have that we're coaching and doing things with and trying to get everybody together, but ever since COVID, we've kind of done it this way, and we'll see where we go from here. But I just, again, am floored by the growth of this thing, and all of your guys' wonderful comments and participation in this thing. I'm really looking forward to getting through this winter and getting out there and playing some more baseball very, very soon. So I wish you guys nothing but the best with your winter seasons here and with your teams as you prepare them for this year. One quick note, we have upped our game as far as tournaments goes through Bigler Sports, and we are hosting quite a few events in Pewaukee at that nice new turf complex that they've just completed. And we do have a handful of spots left if you guys are interested. We are filling up pretty well, and we don't have, I should say, as many spots available this year at many of the tournaments because we only have the 4 fields we'll be running on the turf on any given weekend. We do have several that will have many more, but there's 8 to 10 of them that we just have 20-ish spots or so, and then when we're full, we're full. So if you guys have been kicking the tires on getting into one, I would highly encourage you to get into those pretty quickly to make sure we can accommodate you. So I, again, appreciate you guys looking at us in that regard as well. And wish you guys nothing but the best as you get through this winter and as we see you guys out on the field. If there's anything that I can do from my chair, all the information obviously is out on the website for you to contact me. Please continue to keep in touch with your coordinators as you go through this season. They are going to be very helpful and are going to be able to walk with you through whatever questions you have at your specific age level. But if it's something I need to be aware of or you have a question for me, please don't hesitate to ask. So thanks again for being a part of the thing, guys, and we will see you out on the field very soon. Thanks.